And like you said, I was rookie of the year. Not only that, but I was also top agent in Anchorage, surprisingly. So I was like, oh, take it back. Okay. I was top 300 for Alaska. So it's not, I hustled and bustled and I did all the things that Ignite taught me. And I didn't tweak the system. I didn't change the system. I didn't, do whatever. I literally followed what was given. And yeah, it gave me the success that I had last year. And I'm fully grateful for Brian being my coach and Ignite the program itself. So I believe in this program. Hence why I said, yes, I will teach a class for it. All right, so today we're going to be covering your market. So knowing your numbers, knowing where the market stands, we're going to be talking about how to balance like your niche and your market and how you communicate the two together so it makes sense and it builds your business up. So when we are talking about the market and the numbers and knowing the market, think about your niche. Who are you marketing to and how these numbers affect that market? No. All right, so I'm gonna go skip. Okay, so today's agenda is know your market. And then we're gonna build the expertise, utilize resources, and then we'll have a recap and then daily successes.
You want to use this? You can use this.
Okay, we'll get closer then.
Yeah, and you can take it to you. I don't want.
All right, so start thinking about what you guys want to learn today. What are like some questions that you guys have? I'm not going to break you guys into groups and like, whatever, but write down 1 or 2 questions. I'm going to let you take a moment, write down 2 questions that you have in mind about the market, or how to use the market for marketing or whatever. Just 2 questions that you've been thinking about, that's going to further help your business. Does anybody want to share one of their questions?
Yeah. How do you build, well, I guess it's a problem. How do you build confidence in cautious buyers in a constantly changing market?
That's a good question.
A lot of them are nervous right now.
Yes, they are. They definitely are. Any other questions? And I'm not answering those now because I'm sure like we'll get to it. And if we don't, we'll revisit everything. Any questions? Come on, guys. I'm fine.
So you mean questions just in general, like anything?
Just, yeah, questions in general, like about market, like, I mean, I know you've probably done this before, but, just like anything relating to the market and questions that you have.
Okay, so speaking of the market, because I haven't really been paying attention to it like I used to, obviously. What is happening right now? Meaning, I mean, are we like low inventory? Are we like, what is going on?
Okay, so we'll get to that question. Okay, all right, so moving on. So here's the truth. If it has been done in another market, it can be done in your market. Once it has been done, no matter where, it's just a matter of finding out how that can be possible in your world. So the quote helps us understand that applying the right systems and models in your market can help you achieve success of those that have come before you. like I said, like even with Ignite, it's written down. We've tested it, it works, just do it. Same exact thing. So with your market, there's a system, just do it. You can tweak it, but don't change it. So. So let's go ahead and think about like being a real estate expert. It's all about knowing your market and connecting the market. So you have two buckets. You have your macro level and your micro level. Does anybody know what a macro level is when it comes to knowing your market? By chance, it's all about like your city, understanding your city, understanding the state, understanding like what's going on in the area. At a micro level, you're looking at the neighborhoods itself. So what does this neighborhood look like versus this neighborhood? Am I going to sustain this much equity in this neighborhood versus this other neighborhood? So you're kind of comparing both these two buckets when you're thinking about the market. Same exact thing as your niche. You've got to think, okay, how does this affect my niche? So what kinds of markets do you know all about already? Like, what are the different numbers about the market that you know? Does anybody know anything about the market currently?
Like what?
Like inventory wise?
Super low.
Super low. Yes, yes, the market is super low right now. Do we know, you guys know the appreciation, the average appreciation rate in homes right now? Yeah, depending on the area. So your percentage in Anchorage is going to be way different than your percentage in the Valley. The Valley has way more inventory compared to Anchorage. So your appreciation rate in Anchorage is going to be higher because of the demand versus out in the Valley, you have a little bit more inventory. So appreciation rate's not going to be at the same. Market average 3 to 4%.
Uh-oh, I have a question. How close are the appraisals, the last, tax, compared to actual market?
The tax assessment versus the market.
Remember when
They're
they used
not-
to be way off? They're not anymore.
Oh, no, they are.
They're still-
They
They're
are.
still way off.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're
They
still,
are trying harder, but they're still,
yeah, they're still way off.
they have been going over recently, both
Mhm.
the Muni and in the Valley. I've had a few clients reach out. I have one client that had a $350,000-ish condo, and the Muni was trying to assess them like over half.
Mhm.
So we've had a few of those where they're just like,
Yeah.
are you guys on drugs kind of thing?
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Okay, so to be a real estate expert, you must understand your market of the moment. You can see the market change constantly and sometimes rapidly, and it requires you to pay attention, read the signs, and truly understand the market. This is the only way for you to become an expert and to actually give your clients like good advice. So for me, my niche is the military market. I'm not going to put a family out in the middle of nowhere, Wasilla, knowing that they're not going to be able to gain the amount of appreciation to make it make sense in 3 years. Does that make sense? So that is why you need to be in tune with your market. Okay. So there are 3 types of real estate markets. So you have your buyer's market, your balanced market, and your seller's market. So each one, it really depends on how many months of inventory. So does anybody know what market we're in right now? Yep, it's a seller's market. So in a seller's market, basically the inventory is low, but you have buyers. And so the power is mostly in the seller's hand, meaning that negotiation is not as heavy in the buyer side, but more of on the seller side. You're gonna run into a lot of multi-offers, a lot of, inventory stays maybe less than 30 days on the market. So that's what a seller's market looks like. In a balanced market, you have a healthy share of buyers and sellers and a good amount of inventory. A balanced market is generally represented as having 6 months of inventory available. It means there's plenty of both houses and buyers at the same time. And in a buyer's market, homes aren't selling as quickly and buyers have more options. So meaning they can also negotiate a little bit more in a buyer's market, asking for seller's concessions, repairs, all those things. I'm not saying that's not the case right now. You can still negotiate per se, but there are certain homes like in Eagle River that you're just going to have to pay concessions. I mean, closing costs, you know what I mean? So,
I had a quick question.
yes, ma'am.
Are you finding too, like, because it is more of a seller's market and with the changes with the, commissions and that, are you finding like sellers that say, I'm not,
I mean, like, I know that was like everyone's fear, but really even your for sale by owners are willing to pay commissions. Like, it depends. I mean, here's my take. When you go into a listing appointment, bring the buyer's agreement with you so that they can see what's written in that. Because let me tell you, once they see, hey, like they have the option of either seeing all properties that the seller is paying the commission, no properties, or give and take negotiating wise, then it opens up their eyes to, oh, okay, well, maybe I should consider it. Because I might be out of the pool of buyers coming to take a look at my house, and I can't market to the big pool. So I haven't had any pushback per se. And then if you let sellers know that you can negotiate commissions, it makes them feel a little bit more at ease. Because if you have somebody coming in here saying, I want everything repaired, I want a new roof, I want this and this, okay, well, let's talk about everything else. So. What do you think causes a shift in the market? What, like, life, world changes, nations changes, whatever?
like when we had COVID,
What else?
Drop in interest rates.
Because
because of-
inflation. What else?
political, like getting a new presidency and things like that
Mhm.
affected.
And like even a shift in the market could be something big being built.
When BP switched to Hillcourt, we saw a huge rotation of those employees, people buying and selling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so changes like that. How can knowing your market help you prepare for any of the shifts?
You can educate your buyers or sellers more.
Yeah, you can prep them up.
You know who to contact. I've got a few potential listings from NOAA employees that no longer want to work for the federal government.
There you go. Is the shift in the market something you can control? No, it happens. Can you prepare for it? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. As mentioned, inventory. There we go. Okay. So. As mentioned, inventory is the primary factor in determining what kinds of markets you're in. Inventory can help indicate the health and robustness of the market. So I recommend every single morning when you guys you take your first sip of coffee, I pull up, the MLS and I see what's on the market immediately. And then I see what goes back on the market and the price change. And I take a look at all these buckets, because I wanna know, like, for my clients, A, what's available, but B, like, what's going on? So, for example, I have a listing out in, Wasilla, which I always call the middle of nowhere Wasilla, which is past Three Bears off KGB. But I know that I'm gonna have to have a conversation with my sellers about a price drop. And I know the price drop is probably gonna be around $5,000, just because everybody else has had the same exact price drop. So, and I also know it's gonna take more than 30 days to sell that house. And I've prepped my seller up for that. And I've also prepped them up for a potential price drop. And so how do you think that seller's gonna feel when I bring the information to them? Probably fine. They're gonna be fine, because I already prepped them up. They know what's coming. So that's all about knowing your market. So when you, so check the MLS, be familiar with the price drops, especially when you start getting clients and you know what buckets or what cities they're looking into, like start getting familiar with the neighborhoods and, the median, price of homes. So, what is the inventory in our market right now? So in Anchorage, you're looking at 223, in Matsu Valley, you're looking at 301. What is the average number of days on the market? Anchorage, you're looking at 64, in Matsu, you're looking at 90. What is the average price a home in your market sells for? So in Anchorage, you're looking at around 500,000, and in Matsu, you're looking around 450,000, let's just round up. And then, based on the inventory, what type of real estate market are you in? Sellers, yay! Okay. Let's see. So if you guys want to take a few moments and get on Flex, does everybody have access to Flex? Okay, get on Flex. And then at the same time, pull up alaskarealestate.com and log in that way too. I'm pretty sure it's the same login. I don't know. I just have everything saved on my laptop. Go. And on the MLS, just pull up like the hot sheet and take a look what's on the inventory, on the market right now. And then when you go to alaskarealestate.com, there's a couple options. I gotta pull it up on my end so I can take a look at it with you guys
I
too.
think the hot sheet has to be set up if you haven't already programmed that. Otherwise, it won't pull anything. So you have to pick
So you filter it.
your
Do you guys-
regions and your type, your residential lands, commercial, whatever.
That too, correct.
in order for that sheet to populate.
So I'm a nerd and I like to print out numbers when I go on, well, actually, take a sense of my client too. If I have an over analytical client, I'm gonna bring numbers because him and I were probably gonna butt heads because he's not gonna listen to me, quite frankly. So I bring those numbers because I don't want to hear it. So, what I do is I like to bring the supply and demand report, which kind of looks like this, and you get this from alaskarealestate.com. And essentially you can pull whatever town, so whatever town we're looking for. Right now I have Eagle River up because everybody and their mother wants to live in Eagle River. So, at least with my niche. And so I have Eagle River up. And what I like to show them is this little box right here. And it is the part where it says residential sales the last 6 months. I show them what the, like, where we are at with the market when it comes to putting in an offer. So the conversation is, what should I offer for this house? You can tell them A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In the end, like, they tell you what they want. At least it's a two-way conversation with my buyers. But with them, like, for example, I have somebody, I'll tell them, like, this is what I think the offer should look like. And then they'll come and like throw something completely opposite, like asking under on a house that's been on the market for 3 days. No, this is why I bring this up. Because right now the original list price on average is $495 in Eagle River. And then even when they have to drop their price down by a smidge at like an average of $488, 99% of sellers are still getting their asking price. So you can tell your buyer at that point, hey, we're going to have to come in at asking price. We can ask for concessions on the back end if you want to start that route. But coming in under asking is only going to insult the seller at this rate. And based on market, this is where we're at right now because of our inventory. So that's what that conversation sounds like. And that's why I bring these numbers. So I don't have, so he doesn't think I'm giving him fluff. The numbers are here. The numbers don't lie. So that's why I wanted you guys to explore both, because you will use these, especially when you're doing a listing appointment as well. You want to prep the sellers up too. You don't want them to take a low ball offer. That's not where the market's at. So educate your clients. All right, the second aspect is interest rate and lender regulations. So interest rates and lender regulations play important roles in the status of the market. As interest rates rise, the buying power starts to dip because affordability decreases, which is the pickle that we're in right now. Does anybody know where interest rates are right now? Depending on the loan, of course, but like for VA, we're at 6.7. Yeah, you can buy down your rate, but I don't know if I would recommend that to a buyer when there's a potential that our interest rates will go down. So food for thought on that one. So also, has everybody met like some lenders, kind of like having a partnership with them? I mean, eventually, like, interview a couple and see who you vibe with. I highly recommend getting with one, especially being new, that will teach you things. I am forever grateful for my 2 lenders that I use, because I'll have a conversation. Okay, how much does that cost to buy down the rate? Okay, why does it cost that much and didn't cost last week? Everything, there's a different cost to everything. Everything changes. They'll give me a heads up. They'll shoot me a text and be like, hey, this is where the market's at right now. Yada, yada. We'll work together to build an offer. They'll let me know how much wiggle room I have to play. I'm not going to throw a buyer who doesn't have enough closing costs into the flames of multi-offer. That's just a mess right there. That's me doing too many offers now, because they just don't have a chance if we can't cover closing costs. So you kind of have to have that conversation on what neighborhoods we're looking at too. Um. I did, like, I talk and I'm like covering half of the stuff already. Um. Okay. Okay, economic factors. Economic factors play an important role in the agent's understanding of the market. So, for example, rising unemployment rates could mean that the market is changing, but one factor alone doesn't indicate a radical change. Shifts can be good and bad, so always be on the lookout for how the numbers in your market are changing and what these changes mean on a micro and macro level. So, I mean, I would love to have a recession. Why is that? Interest rates start dropping. I would love that, please. I need that. But keep in mind too, that once those people that bought and were smart and bought now, they're gonna be refinancing. And so, for example, we're probably going to still be in the pickle of having low inventory for a really long time. Just because 2.5, like, that's never coming back. So just keep that in mind when you're talking to buyers. And then our job is not to be a research scientist. Our job is to use these numbers to help us have educational conversations. We're realtors, so we're supposed to be the experts of the market, and we're supposed to guide our buyers, whether they want to listen to us or not. But we're supposed to guide them the best we can. And as long as you have clients that ask questions about your market, and the job of knowing the numbers and adjusting the market never ends. So, I mean, you can talk to, I'm gonna say Brian Sharon, just because he's been, a realtor for almost 30 years, but he's seen it all. He's seen it all. I mean, there's realtors that talk about the market in 2008. Did you know we have the same exact inventory as that big crash right now, comparable? So that was like mind blowing to me. I was like, oh, well, if I did good this year, then, and it's compared to 2008, I'll survive in this market. I'll survive in this job. So, yeah. And I'll tell you something, doing your 10-10-10s and doing your calls and stuff and staying on top of it will keep your head from the underwater in this market. Do the things. Okay. Oh, okay. So unemployment rate is 3.8%. What's a healthy unemployment rate? 4 to 6% is that number. How many workers are entering or exiting the workforce in your market? About 2. And then the growth rate of your community is at 0.3%. A lot of, I'm constantly educating people as they're moving up here, military wise, because they don't know what's up here. They don't know what the slope is. I didn't know what the slope was when I moved up here. I was like, what's the slope? So I had to explain that to them. The oil industry, a lot of people don't know that's a thing up here for some reason. So, tourism, what, Alaska tourists? Yeah. And then you kind of explain to them like the locations, like Palmer is growing. Palmer is your go-to area for tourism. You want to invest over there. Okay. Okay, so micro levels now. Market factors to investigate, neighborhood numbers. So you want to know, as you begin looking at homes in certain neighborhoods and having open houses, start getting into a good practice of being familiar with the statistics and the numbers and like, how much a house is on average in that neighborhood. You'll walk into some homes when you're showing and you're kind of like, this price sounds off, like, why is this so high? Probably because the seller wanted to sell it for extremely, like an extreme amount or whatever. But your job is not to make your buyer pay more if they don't have to. So knowing what the neighborhood looks like in general is important. There's also factors that affect the equity of your home. So what's around that neighborhood? Be familiar with that. What are other market factors that you can think of that might be good to investigate? So when you're going to somebody throw out their niche. Like, what's your niche?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I typically do, trail and mountain related products,
Okay.
which is very,
And who are your clients? Are they just like slow people or?
so I'm pending on a buyer right now, that's a Denali guy. Let's see, I'm working with some folks that are very familiar with Knowles.
With who?
With Knowles, the National Outdoor Leadership School. I've got some Knowles guides. I work with mountain rescue folks. We've got some state trooper clients.
So when you're looking at properties with them, like what are the things that are important? Like what do they need around them?
So typically, one of the biggest selling points for the properties that I sell is trail access. So like in Anchorage, a big trail system is kind of near Elmore and Abbott. There's a big trailhead there, so I sell a few houses up there. Up in Bear Valley, there's a bunch of trail access, so I sell properties there. I do Birdwood properties, related to that stuff. I've got a listing coming up near Government Peak Recreation Area, big trail system there. And I also do a ton of stuff on the right side of Palmer Fishhook and the left side of Soapstone Buffalo Pine.
His niche is completely different from mine. So he's gonna be looking at trail systems versus for me, I have a lot of family. So school systems are important. So we have to take a look at neighborhoods and what they're zoned in and if that's good enough for my client, et cetera, et cetera. So those are market factors that you want to be familiar with. I get asked all the time, is this a good school? We'll have to take a look at it together. Here's the website. So,
Yeah, you gotta be careful what you say with that too.
yeah, you do. So, and then also it really depends on what's important for them, for their kids' education too. They could want a STEM school. That's over there, Mockatons or whatever, however, there's two ways of pronouncing it, but I call it Mockatons. That's a STEM school. And so a lot of.
Interesting note on schools in the valley. You can petition to go to any of the schools in the valley. They just pick you up by school bus. So if somebody does really want to go to a specific school, they don't necessarily have to buy in that school district, and the parents can still petition their own. The exception of charter schools, which are lottery system, and those are tricky to get into, but those also are not region specific. So schools are a big question.
Anchorage is pretty similar. They have a lottery system. They are in the school outside of it.
So it's not a lottery for the traditional schools.
Right.
In the valleys, so.
You're talking about like open enrollment type of thing.
Open and, yeah, so
Yeah.
like if you wanted to go to Finger Lake Elementary, but you live in the Mactan neighborhood, you can switch. If somebody's in love with a certain region, but not the school district.
Yeah, and like, there could be like a top 10 school, but that might not be a good fit for your buyer, because they want their kid to go to X, Y, Z. So, I mean, knowing the different schools and being familiar will help guide you to help your client figure out what neighborhood, what city they want to live in. Do we talk about crime rates and stuff with our clients?
No,
Oh, yeah, that's right. We don't. So that's for them to figure it out.
or sex offenders.
Yeah, that's for them to figure it out. So really, I just say, hey, why don't you take a look? There's these 2 websites, here's the links. And leave it at that. Like, you can't be talking about anything. So,
Meaning you don't do the research for them,
mhm,
and so just for the people who are new, you don't do the research for them, you always point them towards that, and it is an option. Those websites are listed in the purchase and sales agreement, so it's always good practice, just stay off the site,
mhm.
just point them in.
Any ahas as of now? Zoom, are you guys awake? Good, everyone fell asleep. Awesome. All right, do you guys want to keep going? Anybody want to go potty? Okay. So next thing is build your expertise. So you now know that to connect with your market, you must know and keep up with the market. Yet you may be thinking, how do I learn about the market? There's so much to know, of course. So who can remember one of the 6 personal perspectives that relates to this? One.
You guys can reference back into, what we did in session 1, we went over the 6 personal perspectives. And so you can turn back into session 1 and you'll see them listed. And so I'll just go over it real quick, just to give you guys a refresher. Commit to self-mastery, commit to the 80-20 principle, move from E to P. Make being learning based the foundation of your action plan. And number 5 is remove your limiting beliefs. And number 6 is be accountable. So which one of those do you feel applies to what Helen is?
Self-mastery.
Mhm. Learning based on the foundation of your action plan. So self-mastery. So let's explore how we can build that on that. So become the real estate expert of choice. So once you know your market and are familiar with the important numbers, it is time to begin your expertise. Part of educating your buyers and sellers is becoming the local expert. So like I've talked about before, understanding, interpreting the numbers, I go to, AlaskaRealEstate.com and I literally use those numbers to show people where we're at. Create some urgency as well, like, hey guys, like, there's not that much inventory from this date to this date, or hey, this is the appreciation that we've seen year over year, this is where we're at, and I show them these numbers. So what are some things that you're already building your expertise on a market level? So what are you guys doing to learn about the market right now? And it doesn't have to be like numbers based, it could be like, oh, reading up on ski talk and what that's gonna look like in a couple of years or whatever. So anybody doing anything specific for their business to learn about the market?
I check in with my broker a lot. I'm down in Homer, and so it feels like it's often different than what's going on up north. So that's something that I do that's really helpful.
And how so? Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, like I think listening to you guys kind of talking about being a buyer, I mean, a seller's market right now, I feel like we have a lot of inventory down here and no buyers. So it's, it's just a little bit different. And so that's something we'll kind of chat about. Just like, how are things going? Have you had a lot of buyers? Like, oh, everybody's like, kind of camping out or sleeping right now. So just getting the kind of daily or weekly check-in on kind of the pulse of the Homer market.
Okay. So 4 steps to building expertise. Learn the market, learn your clientele, listen to individuals, and keep the headlines in context. So, obviously, like I said, learn your niche, know them, build your niche, and then make sure that you are marketing to them according to your niche. So I'm not going to be talking about trails with half of my buyers because they care more about family and if they're able to sell that house in 3 years. So. Okay, so it all starts with the language of real estate known as lore, LORE. Know your market is moving and how to communicate this to buyers and sellers. Ask yourself if there are signs of market picking up or slowing down. It's important to track the numbers and report from your market center. So with Keller Williams, you'll get an email. It's called TMOs, and it's a little bit much for me, but there's a lot of numbers, and a lot of things going on. But it's taking what Alaska Real Estate has and just like putting it all on one sheet for you. But yeah, so you get that every week, every other week? Yeah, something like that. So, I don't know, it just pops up and I click on it and I read it and then I move on. So.
And it's helpful to know how to explain that, and I'm just gonna chime in here real quick. Helpful to explain it. I always bring a copy when I go to a listing appointment or when I meet with clients to be able to look at what the market is doing. And it just gives a bigger, remember when Helen mentioned macro versus micro, it gives us kind of a bigger picture of the area and specifically for the Matsu Valley. And I'm just explaining this, Helen, for those who maybe aren't familiar with what a TMO is. So it's a total market overview, and it'll talk about, give it specific regions, and I'll just use Anchorage as an example, or all of the Matsu Valley. And if we use all of the Matsu Valley, this is including like Sutton, Chickaloon, Talkeetna, Wasilla, Palmer.
I don't think it actually is supposed to include those zip codes.
Well, I'll double check. Let me double check with Brian, but even so, even if it just included Wasilla and Palmer, Palmer's market is completely different than Wasilla. So I use it as the macro, and then we'll go micro, and I'll do very specific to neighborhoods potentially. But we'll talk about that later. I just wanted to kind of talk about, that's a tool also that we can use during your listings, and we can give you some training one-on-one on that later on. Okay.
It's also really good for buyers.
Yes, I use it for buyers too.
Because when you're having a conversation and somebody wants to lowball, you can pull that out and say, nothing is selling below asking price.
Mhm.
We're not playing that game.
Yeah, and you'll do that a lot, more than you think. Because some buyers are still stuck in like 2019. So,
They are.
and I'll make a cheeky joke to them and be like, "Why do you think you're shopping in 2019?" Alrighty, so the next thing is, okay, does anybody know like the market fluctuations during the year and what that looks like? So are we super busy in January? Not really. So, and then are we super busy? When are we the busiest? Let me ask that.
Summertime.
Summertime. There's a lot of movement during summer. The kids are out of school. People are looking. It's easier to move during the summertime. So what I see is, why is that important? It's prepping up, your buyers, just know what to expect. So some people will, for example, in my niche, my buyers, I have two kinds of buyers. I have the ones that plan 6 months ahead for their big move. And I have the buyers who wait the week of. So the ones that plan 6 months ahead, they know what's coming. Okay, and so the conversation with them is, hey, do you want me to do virtual tours for you and make sure we get you a house by the time you arrive? Or do you guys want to get here and shop then? And so we'll look at both buckets, and really it depends when they arrive. If I know they're going to get here in April, the conversation is going to sound like, okay, just be prepared. That is the beginning of PCS season. So that means you're going to have a lot of people shopping, and with our low inventory, it's going to be multi-offer. So it could takes 30 to, well, it takes 45 days to close on a house. Well, if you get a good lender, 30 days. But I was gonna say, like, prepping them up, like, hey, make sure that you have temporary housing for 4 weeks. If you're gonna get here and we're gonna go shopping, and it's hot season and we're gonna face a lot of multi-offers. But if someone is PCSing in October, November, that's not gonna be the same conversation. The conversation is gonna sound like, okay, we already don't have that much inventory, and it's gonna be a little bit less. FYI, you're not gonna have that many options, but the good thing is we'll be able to negotiate a little bit better. See how that, like, the importance of knowing what month and all that. So yeah, and then the waves of your niche too, like knowing when they start looking and buying and stuff. So when does your niche start buying?
I sell. The winter definitely slows down, but it doesn't fully drop off. I actually would say Thanksgiving Day, everything turns off. The day after New Year's, everything starts turning back on. And then as soon as kids get out of school, it's full blast until the kids go back to school, and then just slowly trickles down back again until Thanksgiving, where it just turns off. And the phone will quit ringing all of December. Then on the day after New Year's, your folks start flowing.
Yeah. And also, what should you be doing during off season? October, November, December. Lead gen like no other. You think 10 a day is hard? No, you're gonna be doing like 50 a day because you want to prep up for the next year. So that's what I did. I went ham during off season, and I've already hit my goal from last year. Cause I just went, gotta get it done. So, and then also, once your leads start falling apart before your eyes, it doesn't hurt as much, I'll tell you that. I had 5 leads that were gonna buy this summer, and all of them have decided to live on base. Last year, I would have been in the corner crying. This year, I'm like, okay, fine, have fun with that. So, the power of lead gen a lot, especially during off season, really like double the numbers during that time. Because the following year, it will pay off. Okay. Okay, learn your clientele. As you're monitoring the numbers in the market, ask yourself who might benefit from your current and future trends and who might be at risk. So lead generation approaches will cover the next, what? I don't know. Anyways. So let me ask I've already know what his niche is. What's your niche?
I wouldn't say I just came up to this market here, so I don't really haven't refined my niche yet.
Okay, think about it. Because literally, like, while you're sitting in this class, I want you to think about who am I going to market to? Who am I going to attract? Really, that's the question. So who are you going to attract? Who can you relate to? And then now everything, you'll be able to relate everything back to that. So, okay, so also knowing your niche and the objections. So for me, my niche will always dangle that they're gonna live on base. That's their objection. Or they're not going to retire, or they're not gonna buy their first house until they retire. So I actually have a class that I teach with my lender about equity. And the gains of equity in the long run. So it's not about buying the home right now. It's about buying a home to build up for the big retirement home. And that's how I market to my niche. If that makes sense. So we talk about like trends, numbers, how to get there. We'll talk about multifamilies, units where you can live on one side, just like you do on base, and then rent out the other side, and now you start seeing cash flow. And so a lot of my clients will be like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know about that life. And then you market how they can keep that money, put it aside, and then use that for their down payment on the next house. Because VA doesn't have to be 0 down. You can cut your VA funding fee in half by putting, what is it, 10% down? So knowing little tricks like that. Okay, so now you can benefit from the changes you're noticing in your market numbers. Keep this in mind when it comes to lead generation and lead follow-up. And that will cover, be covered in the next sections of this course. I will also say, like knowing the traffic and how it goes and prepping up your buyer is really going to make you a successful realtor, and people are really going to trust you because you prepped them up. So right now, the conversations that I have with buyers is, I would start looking now and buying now. Who cares about the interest rates? Like, swallow the pill for a year. I'm gonna tell you, because next year, when that interest rate comes down to, I don't know, 5.99, everyone's going to like freak out and start buying. Guess what? That house now goes up in price because we're still gonna have low inventory. Right? So you're paying the same amount that you paid last year. But guess what? You get to refinance. Joey next door waited too long. Okay, so listen to individuals. Go to where your people are. Talk with the people who are learning about the market, your clients and your potential clients, and chat with them. And more importantly, listen to them. The knowledge they provide could be very helpful to you to make sense of the market. As you make sense of the market, it's important that you listen and understand what your client thinks of the market. So for example, you'll hear interest rates keep going up, like, I'm sure you're not as busy. I am, because people still want to invest. Do I have a lot of sellers? No. Do I have a lot of buyers? Yes. So, and that kind of matches the market. And then you'll have people who say, well, actually, may I turn that on you guys? Like, what are things your friends say about the market currently?
A lot of interest rate talk.
A lot of interest rate talk. What else? Do you have a lot of your neighbors wanting to sell their houses right now? No. Like, what do you say to these people? What's the conversation like? No, don't be shy.
I'm not good to ask that because I've been hiding that I'm a realtor. Because I wasn't ready to go back to work.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you can hear, like, if I go to janitors, I can hear the traditional old man on the other side talk about the market, economy, or whatever. So those are conversations that you could like follow and listen, and you'll have your friends say like, oh, or for example, my niche, oh, we don't want to buy with these interest rates, like we can't afford it. Okay, so then we take a look at it like, okay, what does that look like for you guys in the future? What does that look like for you guys right now? You know what a multifamily is, you know what how that looks like. We have those conversations. A lot of them don't know. There's also, what's another one that I was here? I'm actually blank myself today. I don't know. Anyways,
Don't you think it's super positive though, as far as like, you can take it to the angle of, since we had a change politically, you know, you're already starting to see some things economically, you know, even though it may not be sudden, you know, things shifting, gas. Okay, stuff like that. Little by little, you're seeing that, and I used to come from that angle when I did a lot of real estate, just saying, you know, always coming from a positive standpoint without lying to them. Because it is true, you know, as far as you're gonna see it, like you said, you're gonna see it drop at some point.
yes,
So in the interest rate discussion, a lot of people I hear are worried that it will go up. And so now it's a great time to buy because of that. The people that are worried that they might buy at a high interest rate and it goes down, you can kind of explain that that was what drove the COVID crazy demand, and that if they purchase now, they can always come to. So interest rates like are kind of barely a conversation. Because owning real estate's always, I mean, you can map it since back to the 30s or 40s, and it always goes up.
yeah, and like honestly, right now, your interest rates are like this.
Yeah.
Things
And-
all over the place.
And another thing I always used to throw out there, I did some of my best real estate buying and selling during COVID. Right in the heart of COVID. I still don't even understand it. But it was like appraisers saying, there's no way that that's gonna appraise for that or whatever, and it would happen. Or, so I don't know, I'm funny like that. I don't, it's up and down, like you said. I don't wanna say it doesn't matter because it does, but everything shifts so quickly. Just like when you mentioned that 2-point, you know, back in that was like an instantaneous, you know, here we were going along, and then I remember, because I was a realtor then, and it just dropped for like, what, a week or so? It wasn't very long. And then all the people rushed to get in there and refi. So it's just, it's a continuum of that, so.
So for me, I had one client one time, they were hesitant to buy a house because grandma mentioned the crash of 2008 to them. And my response was, okay, just keep the house until the economy changes and everything gets better again. There's no reason why that should affect you. You'll find a renter. Not everybody can buy. And that's the thing I keep saying over and over again. Not everyone can buy.
You'll find too in Alaska. I thought you were gonna say something else, the crash of the 80s. Because people that have been here like all their lives, they'll say, I remember it because I'm from here, but anyway, people will bring that up, older people, and be like, oh man, you gotta look out because that 80s crash. It's not even the same thing. You're talking apples and oranges. We don't even have the same dynamic, like the pipeline and all those kinds of things. It's not even the same thing.
Yeah, so I mean, real estate is a great way of making money, but people have to realize that there's so many factors that affect real estate. And so just because one year it was a bad year, just because COVID happened, doesn't mean it closes the door on it. Just keep the property, rent it out. Rent it out. If that's how you're gonna save yourself. I wouldn't sell it, rent it out. So, and I mean, like knowing, yeah, anyways, but those are things that will come up. And like, that's why it's important to like listen to your clients, because like, for example, my niche, their conversation is, Well, that doesn't make sense to me because I gotta sell it in 3 years. Do you really have to sell it? Can't you just rent it out? Or if you do sell it, here's the appreciation rate. This is the potential of how much money you could make. Oh, well, what if like the market crashes? Then you keep it. So those, I mean, making sure you listen to your clients and listen to what they're talking about. And then educating yourself with the market helps have those conversations. Okay. And then also another thing too, I used to have a sticker that says, used to say like, I sell real estate or something like that. I never got anything, but you know what I've noticed really does get like market conversations is if you wear like your logo on your shirt. Or like a sticker that says KW or a hat or whatever, those really have conversations. Like I have a shirt that my lender gave me that says realtor. And on the back says, I'm your home girl. But like, I was like, oh, this is cute, I'll wear it. And I literally got a lead out of that. You're a realtor? I didn't know you were a realtor. I was like, yeah, fine. But yeah, so then we had conversation about the market and stuff. So always be on top of the market. Especially if that's how you're gonna market yourself. Keep the headlines in context. So as you learn about the market and your clientele, be aware that headlines can be persuasive. Everything on the news is like amplified 1,000. So that's why a lot of these clients that I have like go into panic mode. Market's gonna crash. How so? Tell me. And then they can't. So yeah, so just be prepared to, face objections from those headlines. Okay. Where do you guys suspect that buyers and sellers get their information from? Pretty
Zillow,
obvious.
Zillow, definitely Zillow.
Zillow kills me, man. Like, and then like the number of days on the market, now they have this like little piece that says like how, what a competitive offer would look like and the number, and I'm just like, smack that out of their hands. I don't wanna see that. It's like, it's insane how it's gotten, but I mean, so then I put myself in my buyer's shoe and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I would take this seriously. So, yeah, and then they also get their information from, social media, like TikTok. My God, I love TikTok. I do. That's how I like keep up with everything. I have ADHD. No, I don't, but I probably do. But that's how I like, and go, go, go. That's my personality. I'm high energy. I gotta go. And it gives me everything. It filters everything. So it preps me up. So figure out where your clients get their information from. And then that's gonna help you have those conversations as well. Okay. And always pay attention to your local MLS. Because what happens in the lower 48 is not the same that happens in Alaska. So there was, for me, for example, I had some clients that were contingent on the sale of their property, and I couldn't, like, it just kind of like made me a little bit impatient to know that a home in Arizona takes way longer to sell than a home in Alaska. So that's also going to affect the buying and selling of your niche. So, I mean, if your niche is all in Alaska, good for you. Mine's not. If you are dealing with a lot of like investors, that's a different story too. So.
Can I ask you something? Where can we get a little KW pen? That's a good idea.
There's the marketplace, whatever on, KW Command. If you click on the second tab, it takes you to marketplace, and then there's like another tab for shopping. There's a bunch of merchandise there that you can get. Also, if you go to like your local embroidery shop here, they can get your, team or whatever on there too with KW at the bottom. And it's not that expensive.
Cause I was thinking, you know, where I work, I'm not really supposed to be pushing, you know, my business. But if I have a little pin on,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of the actual realtor pin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, ahas, anyone? Zoom, checking in on you guys. Are you alive? Amen.
I'm alive.
Okay, yes. Any ahas? All right, good. I'm glad you guys are learning. Okay, so now you know how to build your expertise and your knowledge in the market. Does anybody need a break? Or can I keep going?
Yeah, just about grab coffee.
Times two.
Okay, if everybody has the KW command and like the KW app downloaded. All right, if you can't, go ahead and do that.
I have a, 2-bed, 2-bath with a 1-bed, 1-bath, attached but separated building coming up off of Vermont in the next 3 weeks.
Okay,
For 600,
for how much?
for 600.
Okay,
What is the difference between this KW real estate? Looks like I already had that downloaded, and the command.
I don't know. I
I've
gotta
got
take a
two
look at it.
different
White and red
things here.
squares.
Yeah.
So
see.
your white square is gonna be your consumer on. So this is for end users, but you should log into that too, and this is for you.
Oh, thank you.
So you want both of those, so you're gonna wanna log into this, and you're gonna go in there and.
Right, I know, they move.
Uh,
I had to
Like
lock
an
the
iron.
brake.
You're gonna log into that, and then you're gonna select yourself as the realtor, and so you can then share this app to other people, and it already comes pre-programmed as you selected. So when they pop it up and log into it, it'll say you're the realtor, and then that information, if they sign in, it will then be harvested into your command.
Oh, cool.
And you
Okay.
can see like I have one client that has looked at the exact same house every single day for the last 2 weeks. I'm like, I think they're interested. They're probably renting it off. So yeah, you can kind of
Okay, thank you.
check out all the cool stuff.
People from Nala was interested in sponsoring lunch. Okay, does she work out of, where does she work out of?
She lives in Lucilla.
Oh, she lives in the city, okay.
That was part of my problem when I first signed up. I've been here like maybe a year now almost. And I kept on trying to, you know, the guy Scott, that used to be the teacher person or whatever. And I had all these emails back and forth. I'm like, or calling him or whatever. I'm like, I don't even think I have my steps set up. I don't think I have anything. And then I never heard. So I don't even know.
We will work on that.
Okay, because it's asking me to enter my command login credit. I have no idea.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going, yeah, all right, so. So with KW Command, it's always nice to have it in your pocket. I use Command as, you know, to log in all my leads and everything. I know other people use other programs, but honestly, it cuts my cost. So we're using Command. Command gives you additional options like SmartPlans that you can do from, and all the other, creative ways of trying to market to your, clients. I also use Canva to make a lot of my, newsletters too, that I shoot out through Command. So, and then the KW app, the thing I like about it is that it loops me in as to what my buyers are looking at. So, my buyer could say, oh, my budget is 475, that's my price point, I don't want anything else, I know I'm pre-approved for 550, but I don't want to do it, I want to stay at 475. But he's looking at a bunch of 525 homes, then I know, okay, well, there is wiggle room to play. And so, you'll have buyers who are adamant about 475, but after going out in the market and taking a look at all their options, well, then they're kind of like, okay, maybe I need to increase my price point. So kind of gives you an idea of, what your buyer's looking at too. Have you guys had time to play with it is there like any ahas or cool things that you're like, oh yeah, I'll use that for my business?
We just talking about certain apps, like in general.
Command,
We
Oh,
use the
Command.
different CRM, so we don't use it
Yeah.
at all.
but as you're starting your business and not part of a team, and if you're on the team, it might be different. But for those who want to be like solo agents, like stick with Command, it's a big savings, for your first couple of years. So I don't know if I would switch, honestly.
Is that where we run everything through, like even commission, like our files and
Mhm.
everything?
So you're gonna upload, even if you, don't you, yeah, you guys upload it through Command too,
We do
yeah.
for a commission. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so for compliance, you'll do everything through Command. I do a lot of my smart plans, which shoots out, like, for example, if I have an open house, I'll shoot out, thank you so much for joining and coming by my open house. If you have any questions about this property, feel free to contact me, yada, yada. That's a smart plan.
Is everything in there as far as like listing presentations and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
you can
like
do that
all
too.
All those things.
You can do your listing presentations through Command too. There's a design center. That you can create all those things through. KT still doing technology, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so KT, usually his QR code is around here, but you can book, any like 101 technology information with him, like he'll teach you how to do certain things on Command.
I feel like they keep doing upgrades and like
Mhm.
making it better and better, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any beef with Command.
Do you still use like old school, like Flex for CMAs, or do you do through Command, or is there something simpler now?
CMA's through the Flex, just like the old days. And yeah, you'll have to probably pull more numbers than what they give you and like look for addresses and stuff. I feel like sometimes it gets lost. But yeah. Okay. And also just like, and like I keep saying over and over again, like this is, for you guys that are starting your business, probably the best thing is to stick with Command. until you grow. And by growth, I mean, once you start doing, and this is just me throwing a number out there, but I think it would make sense, once you're at 30 to 50 homes a year, to start being like, okay, I can, if I want to do an extra something on the side that's not Command, go for it. But I highly recommend using Command. I'm probably never going to change. I'll just stick with Command because it's one of the costs that I just don't find important to switch over.
So when you won Rookie of the Year, how many houses did you sell that year?
I did 8.4 in volume, and I sold 17 homes last year.
Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Considering the market that we were in,
Yeah,
so
that
that's
is great.
great,
Brand.
you know?
That's really good
Yeah, considering the market that we were in,
for your first year.
yeah. And I've already hit with pendings and closings, my 17 this year,
Nice.
because I went ham during off season. All right, let's go.
Okay, so I'm. So is ham slang for something?
I'm
so
It's
mean. It's
a
like,
fucking ham.
I'm like, man, like, give me the bologna sandwich or something.
That must be like a military.
It's
lingo.
a, it's
No,
an
I've always said ham, I don't know.
It's means
Yeah.
hard as a,
Ah, okay, thank you.
and, yeah. That's what it means.
I've always used it.
That's all. I figured, I could figure it out, but I'm just.
That's so funny, I like always just say it, I don't know.
That's what it means, now you know.
Now you know. Okay. So, all right, A KW app is the last piece of the Keller Williams technology ecosystem. It is the consumer facing counterpart that connects the consumer to the agent. For the consumer, your KW app is a unique experience because they can personalize their app through collections, safe searches, saving homes, hiding homes, etc. In Command itself, if you go to save searches under your contact, you can set up the email alerts through there. Okay. So establish your business on social media. I am huge on social media. I've gotten leads from social media. I post every single day something. And if I miss a day or two, I feel off. And it will be anything from, well, I have a business and I have a personal one. I know some people just have a personal one, and honestly, that's probably an awesome way to go. I just like to separate both. And share from my business onto my personal. But, yeah, so like 10 posts a day, write 5 comments, and then send 1 direct message a day. Does anybody understand why on that?
Yeah, you need to show up in their algorithm.
Yep. Yeah, so once you start, so for example, I'm creepy, I'm just gonna share it because it works. But my whole business is built on Facebook. So it will start from, I'll start messaging my future leads. And then they start having conversation with me. Then I'll add them as a friend. And then I start liking their post. Because eventually I know my post will show up to them. I don't go on there, I don't message them and say, hi, I'm a realtor. I just say, hello, my name's Helen, welcome to Alaska, yada, yada. That's my conversation. So that's how I start building. So then I get a message, oh, or I'll get a direct message saying, hey, I need a 2-bedroom, yada, yada, yada. And I already know that this person's legit because I've already built a relationship with them and I've added them on Facebook. But I like their posts and I'll comment on their post.
So they don't even know you're a realtor yet?
Mm-mm.
So you just say, hi, I'm Helen, and you're acting like, I mean, so they think you're just like some random person just commenting on their post?
No, 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 no. I built the relationship through direct messaging, so I DM them. I slip into their DMs.
And what do you
So,
say? Like, what are you?
so my conversations are just like, hey, I noticed that you joined this group. If you have any questions about the group or Alaska, whatever, happy to help you.
This is you running.
Oh, that's
a
'cause it's-
military.
Yeah.
No,
It's on your business page though, right? So they're already interested.
Mm-mm. I use my personal
use your personal account. How are you finding these people?
through different groups.
Various groups.
So join a trail group or whatever
Yeah,
and start just like.
yeah, I'm
introducing.
trying to clarify.
creeping.
They're not just completely random people,
They're
So-
people, yeah,
but
well,
they're
They
in a
are
group
random.
setting.
yeah,
They are random
They're
people, but
unknown.
you're joining groups that are of interest to you. And
Like mine.
correct, and then you're reaching out to
Yeah.
people
that are
as
in
they
my niche.
post.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something like, hey, I'm new to the area looking for a babysitter.
Mhm.
And then you can personally direct message them and correct
Yeah.
them, piecing it up, okay.
Yeah, and I'd say, hey, like, here's a few options, babysitters in the area, yada, yada. I know what it's like to move here and not know anything, yada, yada, yada. And then that's how the conversation starts.
And I have been told by different people that target social media stuff not to use a business account. They say use your personal account
Mhm.
because people that work with realtors based on relationship. They don't care about your business. They care more about your personal life and getting to know you. And then we're sharing, if you do both, share it on your personal, like they're gonna be more attracted to your personal profile than a business.
Okay, so for example, I'm a homeschool mom too. Okay, so I go in there and I just find different homeschool groups. And then I ask to join them.
Mhm.
Then I comment on them, right? Like here, something's going on, whatever, and I just comment. No, I message them first.
You can comment or message, yeah.
And then I just say, in my message, I would say what? I would say, hi, I'm Arian. I'm not gonna just come right off with, yeah, I sell real estate,
Yeah, don't do that.
right?
Be a person first, be relatable, be likable,
Yeah,
and then go from there.
okay.
Yeah, and then like, once you start building that rapport, then add them to Facebook. And then you see like they'll post their stuff and you like and you comment and stuff like that. And then in the end, like, they might not buy from you, but then they'll remember that you're a realtor and send you someone.
It's really smart.
And the same exact thing, like, even with an open house. You just follow up and you just like, you need to give them something of value to them in that moment. So they could be looking for, what did I do one time? It was a local, Hispanic grocery store. Okay, here's a few options. You would think they would Google half this stuff. No, they don't.
No, people go to Facebook to ask. the
Yeah,
easiest
they
questions.
ask those questions. I'm like,
Wild.
you could have gotten Google, but anyways, and then I'll be like, oh, well, my favorite one is this one, here's why. And then the conversation is, oh, okay, what's your favorite recipe? And then you keep going back and forth, and then you can do is say, oh, well, I remember I like made a big potluck dish for one of my clients. That's it. And they loved it because they just bought their new home. That's it. You can decipher what I am. And play the like, what's that game?
Make them guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Questions.
What am I? So, and then they'll be like, oh, are you a realtor? And then you say, yeah, I'm a realtor. And then like some people get spooked by it. And they just ghost you, and then that's on them. But then some of them will come back to you because then they realize that they're on the wait list on base for 30, 60 days and now they need you. So there's that.
Can I see something else before you move on to,
Yeah.
Are you big on Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah, so my Instagram is both educational and, so, okay. So building your social media personality. So my personality is A, I'm professional, B, I'm educational, and C, I'm cheeky and funny and like whatever. So I will throw in I don't do a bunch of cheeky ones because that takes away from my personality, but I'll throw them in there to get, like, people will start liking it. People that don't really like my posts and just pass them, they see them, but they don't like my posts, they'll like my cheeky ones. And now I'm back on their page.
So you're going on there like on Instagram, just doing these like little things, like saying stuff or whatever, and then that's it.
Yeah. so-
Meaning, I mean, not that's it, but I mean like, but you don't really use it to like, or you did say you use it for education too.
Yeah, so like, for example, my first one I did this morning is, if you're PCSing a J Bear, here are the top 3 towns. And they're the obvious towns: Palmer, Wasilla, Eagle River, but my niche doesn't know that. And so below it, I explain like Eagle River, proximity to base, high demand, that means your equity is going to increase. So that's educational. Palmer, touristic area, yada yada, like short little clips. Videos count, pictures, videos count. But I'll still post that I did it under contract yesterday, because, you know, we gotta make sure that I'm actually doing stuff. Because there's some realtors out there that have really nice social media, but I'm gonna tell you right now, they probably have done like 5 a year. So, or here's another one I put: imagine using your BAH to grow your future wealth. And I put a whole like spiel about it. And then here's my cheeky ones: me dancing, because that's a trend right now. And I like knew some people would like it.
I
So-
want to do one of the assumptions dance. I'd be like, let me tell you about the home buying process, break it down.
And then, do it, I'll videotape you.
Please.
And then I'll have open house. But this is like strictly my business page. My personal page is about my kids and us hiking and doing the family things. And then I'll share what's on my business page on my personal page, because I want people to still remember I'm a realtor. But I also want them to know that I'm a human. So,
What's your, what is your, I wanted to look at your Instagram. What is all your information to find it?
well, my last name is hard to spell, but it is Bridier, BRIDIER _ AK Realty. And like, and then I have like one that says, they say Alaska is beautiful. And then I have like videos of Alaska. And they sure are right. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay. So different things to bring traffic into your social media. And then you wanna like stay on top of it. Not everyone's gonna use social media for the business, but I do recommend getting your name out there. I knew somebody who used social media to get listings. She would contact those for sale by owner posts on Marketplace.
Mhm.
That's how she got her business. She got a $1 million deal from that. Jeez. He was also the biggest pain in her ear. Okay. Let's see. Okay, other enrichments, okay. Portion of your daily success system is all about knowing the numbers and gaining a strong foundation of knowledge of real estate. So there's lists. Okay, so you can study the market center report. You can look at homes, do the MLS course, host open houses, you know, read Millionaire, and then what else? So let's brainstorm for a few moments the benefits of physically previewing houses for sale. Okay, so let's fast forward to. What? Okay, I think we kind of talked about this already. All right. So based on what we talked about today, break out into groups and talk about like what you're going to do to help your niche. Talk about what your niche is and then talk about how you're going to, all these things that you learned today, how you're going to implement them for your business.
We can do one big group, so.
That works too.
This works, we can just kind of all talk amongst yourselves, you know?
Yes.
So, guys,
I mean, I guess what I want to do, since just because I have military background, I think I can have that personable reaction with them and be able to, understand and just have that relatability and relocation as well. I think that's probably the best way that I would go about it.
Mhm. Mhm. Like for me, I'm working with another realtor to launch a YouTube channel together. And it's basically all about JBear. And I partnered up with him specifically because he's an airman. And so he is going to be relatable to the males, mostly males, and the active duty portion of people who are moving to JBear. So now there's credibility there. And then I am going to come in as the military spouse, having that credibility of family oriented things. And we're not just going to talk about like houses and stuff. It'll be more like, it'll be fun things. Like we'll do a portion on Eagle River, portion on Palmer, what that looks like. When we do drone footage, so they get an idea of the area. Because most of the time we're walking blind, not even knowing anything. I had no idea what Alaska looked like back in 2017 when I got on a plane and came up here. And I came in at like midnight. I had no idea what I was walking into. I chose not to. So, and then the next day I was like, oh, wow, this is nice. So, yeah. Yeah. So a lot of us, we have no idea where we're going next and what that looks like. Another thing is, so just becoming relatable through social media, I think helps a lot. Also education wise, like we're definitely going to be talking about market numbers, and how to structure an offer, what's going to win the seller. Those are conversations that you might want to post about, talk about, send newsletters about, how to take care of your house. That's a good like newsletter. Spring cleaning. That helps your future sellers be like, oh, well, that was nice. Just sent me a checklist. What else?
Do you
Oh.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you do your newsletter just like social media wise, or do you mail it like?
No, I send it through command. Through all the emails I have in there. And I mean, some people click it, some people don't, it's not no. So I have various outlets of getting leads. So I have newsletters, I have postcards that I send to specific neighborhoods. I have 2 neighborhoods that are far. And I used to do postcards like every other month or something like that. Now I'm doing them every single month.
Where do you get the
Ignite RE.
I mean, you don't buy your mailing list, do you?
No, if you go to, I think you need to have, I'll give you the information. Tammy with First American Title, she gives you access to Ignite RE.
and we'll have a class on this, on May 30th during our roundtable discussion in Wasilla.
Okay.
And Tammy actually will be teaching
On the
that
farm?
class on farming. So, highly recommend that you guys attend either via Zoom or in person. We'll have a gathering here in, I don't know if Brian will be here in person for Anchorage, but it will be in person in Wasilla. So I highly recommend coming in person if you can. We'll have First American Title come teach. And we'll have a potluck. We actually have them sponsoring lunch, and some of us in the office are bringing finger foods. So it'll be nice. Every Friday will also be enrichment. We have a roundtable discussion. This month is our listing series. So this Friday we'll be talking about canceled and expireds. And then just so you guys know, we're probably wrapping up a little early, but this is great. Pick Helen's brain and on how she built her business. Helen, we're actually skipping these last few slides. We're okay.
Okay, so am I
we're-
done?
You are, you can be.
No, I'm here, but I mean like.
But I just wanted to put in a plug and just let you guys know that, this is a great opportunity. If you have questions, pick Helen's brain. She has built her business in an amazing, amount of time, you know, and built relationships. Like, think about it. If you're brand new to the area, know no one, everyone has their leg of their business. So having at least 4 legs of your business. When I first moved here with the military back in 2005, you know, I was a homeschool mom. Then I went basically from we were in North Pole, Eielson Air Force Base, and then we moved to Wasilla, knew no one in 2013. Built my business on open houses every weekend. Also became Rookie of the Year because I followed the system. I took Ignite. Helen went her own path. We've been, you know, then it wasn't really social. There wasn't Facebook.
No, but the way you did open houses, I always think about, by the way. So she would make it like a block party. She would go invite the neighbors and get to know the neighbors.
Cause they wanna see it anyway.
Well, they wanna choose their neighbors too.
Yeah.
But then there's ways to build that relationship. So yesterday we talked about, what's your superpower? What are you good at? Some people are very introverted, and well, who's your circle? How do you talk to people? Are you more information based? And then provide that. Me, I was like, oh, they're not gonna like me. And I'm like, okay, put on teacher mode. Think about, I love to guide people. So that's my superpower, guiding people, right? So be that, just when you come off with confidence and you're meeting new people, think about what your superpower is. Helen tapped into it and ran with it. So I'm just gonna say that, just again, what's your superpower? Lean into it and do that. But I want to get back on task. So I also just want to make sure to state this. We have stakeholder meeting in the other conference room at 11:30. So we'll attend that. We'll break from here and then we'll meet back here at noon and continue the next session. Okay, lunch will be provided. It's going to be Moose's Tooth. It'll be here like by 12:10, so we can eat and continue our practice. And then that's it. So right now we have what's our time? We're at 11:18. This is really an open forum, even for you guys on Zoom. Good morning. This is a great opportunity to ask questions. Anything that you want to know, take advantage of asking Helen because she is a rock star. She is basically our poster child for Ignite. I was the poster child for Ignite in 2013. It can be done 2014. It can be done if you follow everything. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking so you guys can ask questions.
Okay, really quick question, what you said about the class, if we can't go to something, is that recorded? If you can't even attend the Zoom?
Yep.
Is every single thing recorded where you can pull it back?
Yes, this is being recorded. In the past, we have not recorded, but we are because we understand that people often have difficult schedules or maybe are working 9-to-5 jobs in addition to real estate. So these sessions will be recorded and we'll make them available.
I mean, like the Friday thing you mentioned.
Oh, the Friday, it is, yes.
Yes.
We recorded the last one. With that too. And, weekday, we go from 9